Hey everybody and welcome. Today we are going to paint this scene in alcohol inks. We are using a 6 by 9 inch piece of Nara paper, N-A-R-A, which you can buy on Amazon. The paper is actually non-porous and made of a type of plastic, and that is the best type of surface to use for alcohol inks. Another good surface is a white ceramic tile. I sketched out this scene loosely with I think it's a number 2 HB pencil, and we are going to start with the sky, and I picked Salmon Adirondack light paint ink, alcohol ink, Purple Twilight for the sky, and then for the mountains we'll use pitch black and amethyst, which I've used many times, as you can see. I'm also using some Adirondack blending solution, and this is alcohol, which is 91 to 99% mixed with some glycol methyl, and what it does is it thins out the inks a little bit. So let's get started. For the sky, I'm going to use a flat brush, and this is an Artist Loft 3/8. You can get whatever kind of brush you like, but this is, I'm just kind of cleaning this one off. It says it's a 3/8. Alright, so what we're going to do is we're going to take the blending solution and we're going to run some on the sky. That's going to thin it out. Then I'm going to add a little bit of the salmon and a little bit of Purple Twilight. Not too much. Maybe a little more of the blending solution. Then I'm going to use this brush to spread it around lightly, and you have to do it a little bit fast because the inks dry very quickly. And I'm just kind of cleaning my brush off in between as I go down into the twilight area, the bottom lighter area. And it won't look exactly like this one. Every sky and every alcohol ink painting is a little bit different. Alright, so that's almost dry. If you keep brushing back and forth as it's drying, you're going to get streaks. So I am going to stop right there, and I think that's a really pretty sky. Put the caps back on my inks. Next, I will use some amethyst for the mountains. Now, I know this looks kind of blue, but you can use any color you want. I just happen to like this amethyst, and I think it'll look really pretty. So the brush I'll use for the mountains is a number 6 round Artist Loft. So I'm not saying Artist Lofts are the best, this is what I have. You can honestly get a pack of cheap brushes from anywhere, a pack of 50 brushes for $10 at some of the craft shops. So I'm going to have my blending solution handy right here, and I am going to just put the ink right onto the mountain, like so. Start spreading it around. Got a cool mountain. Beautiful purple. Kind of looks the same as that other one. I'm going to just add a little bit of blending solution on top of that to just thin it out a little bit, give it a little contrast. Kind of make it look like there's some rocks or something on there. Now I'm going to leave that. I'm going to add a little bit right onto the mountain. Now I have a little plastic dish here. If you wish, you can add the inks into the little plastic dish, and if you're new with alcohol inks, you might try it that way first. Grab your ink and start painting your mountain. And remember, it does dry very fast, so keep that in mind. I kind of like it where it starts moving a little bit, spreading on the top. It kind of looks like trees far off into the distance. Alright, so I am choosing not to add any of the blending solution on this one. I like it a little bit darker. Alright, I think that looks really pretty. Now, I am going to do the water next. And for the water, I'm going to use a mixture of the amethyst and the twilight, but also some blending solution because I want the water to look like it has movement in it. So, blending solution, just a little bit of the darker twilight, a little bit of this, oh, the first one was amethyst, excuse me. Alright, and to use a new brush. This is just a smaller number 2, I believe. And I like the way it has the light in there of the blending solution. Nice contrast there. Maybe a little bit too much ink on that one. Kind of pull it up. This ink goes a long way. Little bit goes a long way. Okay, I'm going to leave it. You know, as it dries, it just creates such a beautiful light coming through. You can even, while it's wet, you can even kind of hold it sideways and let it move. This is just about dry though, but you can let it kind of move on its own. So that's kind of fun. Alright, now I've got the black, which I'm going to add to this kind of front rocky part. And, you know, I wanted some water to go in here, I noticed. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to add a little blending solution in the plastic dish, get my paintbrush kind of juicy and wet, and just add a little bit of ink in there. And the thing is, once it's dry, you have to kind of wet the whole area or else it'll be streaked. So as you can see, I went right over that so that this will blend better. Otherwise it'll look like you know, half of it's done, half of it's completed, and there we go. Alright, now black. I am going to take the black, and And when you open the bottles, open it not over your painting. I opened it kind of below it because all these little crumblies could fall out of the lid. So I'm going to put a bunch of black here. And you could use, I would say this paintbrush would be good to use, and just start moving it around. Again, it dries quickly. And just have some cool jagged edges. Start pushing up. Push up with your paintbrush and make it look like there's some evergreen trees going up into the back of that mountain. Okay, like that. Just jagged rocks here. And then this is nice and wet, my paintbrush is nice and wet, just start pulling up to make your little tree, juniper tree or whatever kind of tree that is. I'm not sure. I went to Oregon and went to the coast and took a lot of photos, and it was so beautiful there. I saw a scene that looked similar to this, and I thought, I've got to paint that. So adding the branches, just very lightly pull out, very lightly with the tip of your paintbrush. And remember, we're going to cover over a lot of this, but this is a guide to show you where to put the leaves. My paintbrush is still pretty wet, which is good, so take advantage of that. I'm going to leave that alone, and the rest of the ink on my paintbrush, I will put it over on this other mountain, rocky hill, cliff, whatever you want to call it. Drying out quite a bit, so I am going to add a little more. Pull down to make your evergreen trees, pine trees. I don't know what kind of trees they are in Oregon. If you live in Oregon or on the West Coast, maybe you can let me know what these trees are. Put it in the comments. I'm in Texas, so we have lots of oak trees, but we also have lots of cedar and we have all kinds of trees here, but I'm sure they're different than the West Coast. Now my paintbrush is still wet. I'm just going to use the tip of it and just put the impression of little evergreen trees. Very lightly touch. Just use the tip. And you can't really mess this up because it's off in the distance. They don't have to be perfect. Alright. Kind of like this white showing through down here on the bottom. Doesn't bother me at all. I like it. Alright, now I am going to take the black and pour it into a little plastic tray, and we are going to work on the tree. And I'm only taking a little bit here. I don't want it to be too full. If your paintbrush is too full of ink and you start putting it up here, it's going to start moving and spreading. So less is more. So now I am just going to lightly dot it on. And do you see how it's moving there? If you blow on it, it will stop it from moving. It'll make it start drying. If you have too much on, just kind of wipe it off on your paper towel. Always have a paper towel handy. I just have them everywhere. Now this one, of course, is going to look completely different than the one on my left. And that's fine. They should all look different. Make it your own. Possibly I won't have to re-dip my paintbrush into the ink because I have quite a bit of ink on this brush. Just lightly touching it. Just a few little dots of leaves, very lightly. Okay, I'll put a little branch there. You can add more branches if you like. Kind of like how it went a little pointy on the top. It's kind of cool. Bring it all together. All right. Grab a little bit more. You can have some parts a little darker. Some parts a little lighter. They're really dark right here. Alright, I like the tree. You could spend a long time on the tree if you want. Make it as detailed or as simple as you want. Just doesn't matter. Make it your own. Make it special to you. Maybe I'll add a little tree coming up here because it's very light here, and I like the light background. And this little tree here will really show up nicely. Maybe another one. I like that. You never know what you're going to get. See how light that is there and not so much there? So the blending solution helps you to make the beautiful lightness in the background. There you go. I like this. All right. Well, I hope you liked this lesson. And please follow me for more videos. Have a great day.